everybody, I am about to move on from painting some faces. I've actually been painting all of these minis here. And I started with faces, and I'm about to move on to the rest of the mini. And I would like to be able to utilize my airbrush without having to worry about screwing up the faces. So obviously I'm going to want to mask these minis. And the thing that I use to do that is Silly Putty. And this is actually, I think, 2 sets of Silly Putty that I've been using for a while. So there's, if you look close, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but you can see some little speckles of paint in there. But it's still good. But I bought a whole, like a 6-pack of this stuff for almost nothing. It's very cheap. And I have been using Silly Putty for masking for many years, but mostly large projects. I've used it for, you know, if I'm doing a vehicle and I have a whole section that I just don't want to get overspray on, I could use it for that. I've used it for masking camouflage, and there's probably at least one video in here somewhere that would show you that. But recently I've been using it for small projects like this, and I've tried all kinds of things for masking little bits, and nothing is really perfect for it. And in fact, the thing that I like most about Silly Putty is also one of the things I like least about it, and that is that it is not great at adhering. So you have to kind of be real careful about how you apply it, or else it's just going to fall right off. And you kind of get a feel for it after a while about like when it is and isn't going to stick properly. And I usually use a tool. I usually have like a toothpick, and that's essentially what this is, but this is a more of a dental pick that you wouldn't find this in a food aisle. This is an actual dental tool. But I was out of the wooden kind, so. But generally speaking, you just press this on to whatever you're working with, and I like to, just press it down sort of evenly. And what you find sometimes is that it sort of comes up because it's not adhering properly, and I'll smooth it out. And once you see it's got a little bit of a hold, you can kind of just blend it out toward the end of whatever you're doing. You just want to make sure that it covers reasonably well, and it's just covering the areas that you don't want to get paint on, and leaving exposed the areas that you do want to get paint on, just like any masking. Duh. But again, the thing that I like least is also the thing I like best, which is when you are done painting, then it just comes right up. And if you happen to see maybe there's some in the crevices that have gotten left there, you can just use a little ball of Silly Putty to pull it off. But I didn't have that. I didn't have that issue here. But I'm going to go ahead and actually do this. I pulled it off, and I really do want to paint these. So I'm going to put it on. I think what I'm going to do right now is, my goal here is to get my base color on. And so I'm going to do that after reapplying the putty, and I'll show you what it looks like. So I'll be right back. So doing the hands, I'm reminded about how difficult it can sometimes be to use this, and why I liked having regular toothpicks, because one of the best ways to spread it over an area is to take a toothpick and roll it. So you'd start at one end and then roll it over, because you really want to get that full surface contact over the place that you're putting it. And just keep in mind that, you know, if you're having trouble with a particular area, you might just approach it from a different direction. You know, when I'm doing it overhead, you saw me, you know, you can just kind of splooge it over there and then stretch it out over the head. I mean, not that much, but essentially squeezing it, and that it provides more tension around the whole head. And then, you know, you take the rest of it and spread it out where you need it, or, you know, pull off chunks if you don't need it. In any case, I got it everywhere I do need it right now, and so I'm just going to go paint real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my paint on, and now I can just pull this off. And this sometimes happens. You can see around the neck there, I'm going to have to do some touch-up because the putty was sitting on top of the dress, which is fine. That's not that hard to fix. It's a lot harder to go back and repaint the face. We've got some putty. This was probably the hardest place to put the putty, which was in the hand near the dress, and now getting it out is not quite as challenging. Actually, nowhere near as challenging. But there it is. That's it. So it's just a quick tip. This stuff can be had at most anywhere that sells toys. You usually find this stuff. But I usually just buy it on Amazon, and I buy it in you know, batches of 6, and it's like $5 or something for 6 of these little eggs. And I'll include a link in the description that'll lead you right there. So that's going to do it for this little quick tip, and I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.